Hey everyone, today we're discussing how to know if divorce was the right decision and to stop second guessing. I gotta admit, last week was pretty tough for me in general through this Mercury retrograde. So I'm gonna dive right in and let you know about my topic today is more about how the question isn't whether the divorce was right. It's whether you're using it as a launch pad for growth or keeping yourself stuck in an endless evaluation loop that prevents you from moving forward. So, we're going to talk about 4 P's. These are promises that allow you to focus on why I'm thinking this way. Why do I need to know if I made a right decision or a right choice? And give yourself a little bit more self compassion. That's the idea here because self compassion for me, and I take this from IFS, is the way in which we heal. And it is the gateway to healing. And when you add to that as well, curiosity, you are absolutely on your way to healing even more. So let's dive in. What if I told you that asking, did I make the right decision, is actually the wrong question? You've been replaying the marriage in your head, analyzing every moment, wondering if you gave up too soon or should have tried harder. And every time you think you have clarity, doubt creeps back in. And here's what's really happening. You're asking a question that really has no answer, and it's keeping you trapped in a loop that makes moving forward virtually impossible. So, in the next 12 minutes, you're going to understand why you can't stop second guessing yourself and what question you should be asking instead, and how to finally get off this mental hamster wheel for good. So, if you're an air sign, you're going to really understand this idea of always being in your thoughts. And because air likes to think. So I'm alleviating you from further thinking and maybe redirecting your thinking. So here we go. You wake up some days feeling confident about your decision, and then other days you're flooded with doubt and guilt and what ifs. And this can really affect us. And it's like this up and down. Sometimes we think something's wrong with us because we're experiencing a lot of range of emotion. And you've analyzed it from every angle. You've talked to friends, therapists, maybe even your ex. But the doubt keeps coming back. And what is the cost of all of this? Are you spending a lot of mental energy evaluating the past instead of building your future? And is that worth it to you? So, I'm Priscilla Podesta, a marriage and family therapist with 15 years of experience, and I worked with hundreds of divorced women, and this is the single most common pattern I see. Brilliant, capable women stuck in endless evaluation cycle, not because they made a wrong choice, but because they're asking an unanswerable question. So, I'm going to show you the 5 reasons you can't stop second guessing your divorce. And the one reframe that I discovered finally puts this to rest. Number 1, you're asking a question that requires information you'll never have. Was this the right decision? Requires you, that's a question. It requires you to know what would have happened if you stayed. You're comparing your real life to an imaginary alternative timeline that really only happens in movies. That alternative doesn't exist. You're measuring a fantasy that your brain is trying to solve with an equation of missing variables. So let's interrupt that. You're not confused because you don't know the answer. You're confused because the question itself is impossible to answer. So every woman I work with who stays stuck in second guessing is comparing her current reality to an idealized version of what could have been, not the actual marriage she was in. So it's like standing at the fork of a road and you're looking at the left path, and then you're spending the entire journey wondering when you take that path if the right path had been better for scenery, for opportunities, and you'll never know because that path doesn't exist for you. anymore. And you know what? Maybe there is no right or wrong. And this kind of goes into more philosophical thinking. All you have to do is stay on the path you're on, whether you're walking intentionally or spending the whole time looking backward. My friend and I were talking the other day about astrology and all different kinds of things, and she brought up a really great metaphor, which was when people are looking back but moving forward, they're essentially walking backwards. So I love that analogy because you can't see what's ahead. You're always looking back. So how can you identify what's going well in your life, or what are you enjoying? What are you grateful for? What maybe can improve? And so notice when you ask, did I make the right decision? What version of your marriage are you comparing it to? The real one or the one you hoped it could be or become? And this is why doubt feels so heavy. You're not going to answer anything. You're not questioning the divorce. You're questioning yourself. Number two, you're confusing the right decision with pain-free outcome. And so you might think that the right decision shouldn't hurt this much. And if it was right, it should feel clear and peaceful and obvious. But the hard decisions, they come with grief and loss and discomfort, and that's just part of life. In fact, a lot of good things can come with pain and loss. And so this is what makes your mind get tricked, because the pain doesn't mean you were wrong. It means you're human and you're living a human experience. And there's going to be up and downs, and it's not going to be black and white. So the presence of pain is not evidence of a wrong decision. I worked with women who left abusive marriages and still second guess themselves because it hurt. And the pain isn't proof that you made a mistake, it's proof that you cared. And now it's time to heal that, because we need to acknowledge that there is pain there and can't ignore it. Otherwise, we're going to be faced with lots of ways that we manage grief and pain that's not the healthy way. So think about surgery. If you have surgery to remove something that's causing harm, recovery, right, is going to be painful. Doesn't mean the surgery was wrong or that you shouldn't have had it. The whole process is uncomfortable, and healing is uncomfortable. And so is divorce. You removed something that wasn't working. You made a very big decision to end it, which no matter if you're the one that leaves or is left, you are experiencing very similar pain, just in different ways. And now you're in recovery, and pain is part of the process, not proof of failure. So ask yourself, am I questioning my decision because it was wrong, or because I expected it to hurt less? I mean, who doesn't want things to hurt less? But here's the deeper issue. Society has trained you to believe this is your fault. How many people have told you, really, are you sure? But we like him or her. We got used to them around all this stuff, and it's like, I'm sorry that you're hurt because of my hurt, and now everyone's hurt, and now I'm causing all of this chaos. But you're not causing chaos, because this is just a point to get through. So the next point is that you're carrying cultural messages that says marriage must work. Society tells you marriage is supposed to last forever. And you know what? A lot of people go into marriage thinking it is going to last forever. It's not like, oh, I'm just going to sign these papers and then like annul it later. I don't think anybody wants that. So when it doesn't work out, it automatically leads to you. Something's wrong with you. Your judgment, your effort, you didn't do enough. And when it ends, you internalize it as a personal failure. So you're not second guessing the divorce, you're second guessing yourself as a person. And that is a lot deeper. And that is probably the question that we have to be asking, is that you're not questioning whether you made the right choice, you're questioning whether you're the kind of person who makes the right choices. And that can hit hard. So the women who struggle most with this have been told their entire lives that divorce is failure and don't do it. And maybe you came from a family where there is a lot of divorce, so it goes both ways. Maybe there was a family that there was a lot of divorce, so it's like you can't be the one that divorces. No, there's too much in the family, it depends on you. Or there was no divorce in the family, it's like, we don't do this, you know? And they're not valuing the marriage. I mean, it's not like they are the ones that got married to your ex-spouse. They're defending their worth, their value. And because there is a lot of value system connected to the idea of marriage, when you tell people you're breaking it off and that person's no longer going to be in your life, you're essentially saying a much deeper message of the value that you hold. Like people can just assume that you gave up, or and you don't have any control over what people think. And that's going to be another podcast as well. So ask yourself these questions. When I think about the divorce, do I feel shame about who I am? Do I worry what others think of me more than whether I'm actually better off? Because at the end of the day, you're the one living your life. And am I afraid this means something is fundamentally wrong with me? And if you answered yes to any of these, you're not stuck on the decision, you're stuck on what it means about you. And this is exactly why you keep asking the same question over and over without getting relief, which leads to point 4. And asking, was it right, keeps you in evaluation mode instead of creation mode. And as long as you're evaluating the past, you can't design the future. Just like walking backwards, how do you know where you're going? You're going to trip on something. So second guessing is a defense mechanism, and it keeps you from having to decide what comes next. And it's easier to stay in the question than to take responsibility for the answer. But you can't rebuild while you're still auditing. The real question isn't, was it right? The real question is, what am I doing with it? Because at the end of the day, we want to evolve, we want to grow. At least I hope we all do. And the women who move forward fastest aren't the ones who find certainty about the past, because the past is past. They're the ones who stop needing it and start building anyway. Let's think of you're holding a heavy box and someone asks, was that the right box to pick up? And you can stand there debating like, I don't know, is this the right box? Or you can set it down and decide whether you're going to go where you're going next. The box doesn't matter anymore. It's just a box. And what you do next does. So stop asking, was this right? And ask, what am I building now because of this? So if the old question doesn't work, what question actually gives you peace? Because ultimately, that's what we want. We want peace, which leads us to the one question that actually matters, which is not, was it right? But am I becoming who I want to be because of this? And this question is answerable because it's forward facing and it puts control back in your hands. It shifts you from valuation to creation. You can't know if the divorce was right because you can't see the alternative timeline, but you can decide whether you're using this experience to grow, clarify your values, and build a life that fits who you are now. Ultimately, we change, and our value systems change based on our experience and what we learn about the world. So it's okay that you have shifted, that you have changed your mind, that your lifestyle has changed. The only question that matters, and it's the only one you have control over, is that one. What am I doing with this? Someone hands you a lemon, and you spend years asking, why did I get a lemon? Should I have gotten an orange instead? Did I deserve this lemon? Or can you say, okay, I have a lemon. What am I going to make with this lemon? And maybe it's not just lemonade, by the way. And your power is in what you do next. And that is on you, and that is you doing your life the way you want to. And that's what I love empowering women about. So tonight, do this 3-minute practice. Write this question at the top of the page. Am I becoming who I want to be because of this divorce? Step 2, list 3 ways you've grown, clarified what matters, or changed for the better since the divorce. And step 3, list 1 way you want to grow in the next 30 days because of what you learned. And this reframes a divorce from mistake or not to launch pad for growth. And you'll feel immediately feel the shift from stuck to forward motion. I hope this helps. And you can't unmake the decision, and you'll never know what the alternative would have been. But you absolutely can decide what to do with it. And that's where your power is. Not in whether it was right, but in whether you're using it to become who you actually want to be. And that is something you're also going to have to decide. So if you're ready to stop evaluating and start rebuilding, watch my other videos. I have just one or two posted already. This is a brand new channel, so if this was helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe so that this can help other women just like you. And if you're a man and you're getting things out of this, please comment below. I would love to hear from you. I love to help everybody. I'm not partial to just women. I just love helping women specifically because that's where my passion lies. Okay, and I also understand the struggles. Have a wonderful day.